Hi and g'day from down under, and welcome to another episode of the Twilight Zone as it unfolds daily. Welcome to any new viewers here. Not a home for Trumpites, have to say. This is a guy, sharp as a beach ball. He is single-handedly destroying the nation. Who would have thought it would be tolerated? But it has been. It's not your channel. There's millions of others to choose from. So I'll just give you a moment to move on. And now, back to regular intrepid viewers. I wanted to look at the media today because it's, I think, around the anniversary of those 5 journalists who were shot at work in Annapolis, and also in memory of Jamal Khashoggi. So this is my tribute to these guys. I'll be doing it in 2 parts that I'll explain in a minute. In the meantime, since we last spoke, Hope Hicks went and didn't give testimony and couldn't even remember where her office was, apparently. So what is this stuff with executive privilege taken to cover anybody that Trump's ever met? So time for some judges to step up. What's happening? Does anyone know? Please let me know if you know there are legal proceedings. This has to be sorted out, and sorted out pretty quickly. Does it exist? Who is entitled to it and who isn't? Please sort this out. But I'll also be looking at a few other things. Oh, don't forget, Felix Sater speaks next week. Now, I went back through the playlist. I did a video, number 27, that's how long ago that was, on Felix Sater. He is going to be speaking on, or not speaking, as they seem to do, on the Moscow Trump Tower project. But Felix and Don go way back, decades back, earlier than that, because Felix Sater is Russian. He was the Russian speaker who spoke literally to the oligarchs and organised for all the money to come through, to be laundered through real estate via Trump.org. Remember when Eric or Don Jr. or one of them famously said, money's pouring in from Russia? Well, that was thanks to the coordination of Felix Sater. So they go back decades. But he's got bigger people to worry about than the Yeti. You know, I think he'd have a few other issues. I think he was also an FBI informant. It's a miracle he's still here, really. So, all things considered, if you want to know what I think about Felix Sater, it's all there back in number 27. Now, we're going to look first of all at what I'm generally calling the centre-left, people who actually report the news, and then I'll do a separate mini reading on the right, and how do they spin the gaslighting and the lies and the treachery. So let's have a look first at the centre-left. It's a funny time for journalism. It's, what was that, Dickens, was it Tale of Two Cities or something, that starts with, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times? It's like that. I think it's, on the one hand, crushing to have to deal with this sort of behaviour and opposition, and at another time, I'm hoping it's really exhilarating as well, and building a really solid journalistic foundation for the future, for investigative journalism in America that was on its way out. You know. So I'm giving the cards a good shuffle. I'm back to the conventional rider-waite for this, and we'll see what they say. The centre-left. Oops. I'm talking about all sorts of media here. Print, TV, social media. Although social media deserves its own reading sometime when I've got a minute. But for now, I'm putting it together collectively. The media, centre-left media, how are they travelling? Can't be easy. All right. Oh, you wouldn't read about it, would you really? Look, the Three of Swords, their hearts are breaking over this. And I think it's happening on several levels. It's very hard to work in a job where you're accused of lying when you haven't lied. It's very hard to work in this climate. They also know sometimes a lot more than we do. They can only print so much that gets past their lawyers and stuff. So this is kind of sad to see as their central card here that their hearts are being pierced by what they're having to deal with. Right. So let's hope it picks up from here. At the same stage, I'm not altogether surprised because we're in this dreadful limbo phase where he seems to have been in office forever, and it seems like a million miles to 2020 election. So I think, and I'm saying this as advice to all of you because I know a lot of you are struggling with the frustration and the exhaustion of this ordeal. This in a way is the nadir that's happening now, the lowest point in that. Things have to shift from this point on. And as I've said from the beginning, the Al Capone president, it's going to be money in the end, both his personal money, stuff that'll bring him undone, and the stock market. While there is this supposedly fantastic economy, he can ride that. And I agree with Bernie Sanders, who said yesterday or whenever it was, why is it that a low-wage worker cannot afford a two-bedroom apartment in any state in the Union? And Australia, it's exactly the same. Kids are not leaving home because they cannot afford it. So 30 and 40-year-old children are still at home. People are Airbnb out one room because you can't have just a normal flatmate because you can't pay the ridiculous rents. That in turn is pushing the prices of rents up. Housing is a real crisis. A recent Australian study, 1% of available properties was affordable if you were on a low income. And most people are on a low income. Sorry, back to the game. So the journos are struggling now. Their heart's sore. They must be exhausted too. Okay. So what else is happening for them? Yes, the Tower. Back to basics and pushing on. Bless them for that. So in the past, this is why they feel like this. They've been dealing not just with a Tower moment of catastrophic assault on everything that journalism does and represents. They've been dealing with it for 2.5, almost 3 years. This is why they're totally... But the Tower is passing. We are all still, those of us, you as Americans and from others around the world, we are observing the Tower unfolding in our own countries as well. This is not a little blimp in America's history. This is not a blimp in UK history with Brexit. These are massive, massive forces going on here. Right. So this is the useful energy of the page, the positive message, and the surprise. The Page of Cups often means a surprise. I'm sure there's constant surprises in their line of work, but this is the altruistic aspect of the Page of Cups. This is underlying what they do. They believe in what they do. for higher reasons. Most journos don't work the hours they do for the money, right? They do it for the love of it and the passion, which is why their hearts are impacted. They get the apprentice card, back to basics, looking at the fine print. They can't get away with a single error without having to apologise profusely for 6 months. The Yeti can say whatever he likes and does, but they can't, and they know they can't. And by and large, they're working really hard at their foundational journalism and editorial skills, and really triple-decking, checking everything that goes forward. So they're continuing, and they'll have the energy to go forward. This is the war horse. It can also be the mercenary, but as I just said, they're not in it for the money. So you go for the other more conventional interpretation of the solid, tireless war horse. So I'm just going to do, I think I'll do 2 clarifiers. I think I'll do the central swords and the tower cards to see if we can get any more out of that. So, hope and longing. Yes, the pain is about hoping things will change, hoping the ship will come in, hoping things will get better, and they must, and we must also believe in that. The tower, the consolation prize. There is a consolation prize with the tower, guys. I'm not the only one to be saying this, but things had to be this dramatic, this bad, this ridiculously, obscenely corrupt for people to see. And the consolation prize is a change, a big change in how we collectively view government, how we collectively think of our government representatives. And at the moment, they are not serving the people. So the consolation prize of the tower is change. Okay, put those away. Now we're going to look at the right-wing media. So that includes obviously Fox, not Fox News, Fox Entertainment Channel. You must be hard up if it's your entertainment. Certainly not news. So, up until now, Rupert Murdoch has stuck by the Yeti reluctantly. He doesn't like him. But you can begin to see the fractures at Fox, which is something. There are, of course, all the other endless small-town right-wing radio stations. They are influential. People listen to their local stations, and if you've got a good one, you are so blessed. And if you've got a blow 'em up, shoot 'em up local radio station or TV station, you're really starved of news. Yeah. Okay, just a moment, a pause here. Oh, false alarm. Okay, let me keep shuffling. So I'm now doing the right-wing media. How is it holding up? How is it managing to spin the nonsense? To spin the tariffs as something that aren't taxes? How is that working? One moment, sorry, my phone. I'm beginning to think it's a conspiracy, viewers. I had to have my phone on and it just keeps going off. It doesn't want to let us know about the right-wing media. Now, let me just give them a good shuffle here. I hope you can hear me over the snoring of the pug. He's a dreadfully wicked, untrainable dog. So lucky he's cute, is all you can say about the pug. Okay, now this is the right wing. I'm pleased they get a bit of a challenge here in their central card as well. Theirs is much more straightforward, not living it for them if you were a right-wing pundit. Oh, Ann Coulter, she-devil, dreadful contrarian bat, has gone very quiet, has she not? In Trump we trust. I think a few of them who really went hard are really having gulp moments. Anyway, let's go back. They are hostage to supporting him. They're the ones who feel that they're still stuck. Ann Coulter's moved on, but this is, look, Fox is symbolic of them all. We're stuck with this guy. It's going to look really bad if we turn on this guy. We're stuck with him. Our hands are tied. We're surrounded by swords. Oh, I couldn't be happier, viewers. What's behind them? Well, illusion, delusion. Don't have to explain any more than that. They were dazzled by his seeming, business acumen. They were dazzled by his apprentice ratings, which eventually sank, but he doesn't talk about those. So being bedazzled by rubbish, materialistic, vacuous, vapid rubbish. Well, that's them. Underneath, the sword of truth. Some of them are beginning to wrestle with the sword of truth. Most of them wouldn't recognise it if it bit them on the ass, but there are those who are struggling, including Murdoch. I have to do a clarifier on this. Not because Murdoch in later life is going to become a nicer person. He isn't. But there are those included. This always has a legal aspect. And I think Andrew Napolitano did a magnificent job. I'm amazed they kept him on. Basically giving accurate legal advice. So they have to watch themselves legally, is what I get from this card in this position. They can keep sprouting Alice in Wonderland sort of nonsense about him. This is the nonsense. This is them captive to the nonsense. But there could be some significant legal repercussions. It might be with Fox, but it could also, like has happened with Alex Jones and some of those who seemed invincible. What's on top of them? Nostalgia, happy days, father knows best. Look, really, these guys are one step up from the Flintstones. This is that sort of idle nostalgia going for. What are they going to do in the short term? More of the same. They're just chasing the money. This is the Page of Pentacles. It can be a good card. It can be a thoughtful card. It can be someone looking to how to use money positively. But you'd have to say that isn't so likely, is it, viewers? Sorry about that pinging. No. So this is the Page of Pentacles in the sense they'll keep saying what they're saying because there is money involved. Now, the clarifiers here that I'm interested in are the Centre card and the Page of Pentacles. How are they going to spin it? Oh, disgrace. Disgracia. Total disgracia of being affiliated with this man. And the Page of Pentacles, yeah, that's how they're going to keep. These cards are related. These cards are related. This is the Page of Pentacles who wants to keep going and just following the money. They're driven by nostalgia. They haven't felt the disgrace yet. This is the nostalgia. And this is everything's all right. This is so happy days, nothing wrong. We'll just pretend that everything's all right. So not. I can't leave this topic without doing a mini throw on Rupert Murdoch himself. He could be up there with my most 5 hated people. I can't think who the other 4 are this minute because he's in the front of my brain. Murdoch was the one who destroyed the whole of the Midlands and the north of England by backing Maggie Thatcher against the miners in the miners' strike in the early 80s. He's just a truly... ghastly is a word I use a lot. He's ghastly, he's ghostly, just dreadful. Okay, a quick one on Rupert. And I must tell you the other exciting news. Later this afternoon, I'm going to meet up with Dave from Moonride, who has come from where he lives now to Sydney, and we're going to do an equinox video in the next couple of days. So we have no idea what that will look like or what it's about, but we thought we're together and the equinox is on, so let's do an equinox video. We might even be able to manage a live stream, but I can't promise that because technically we are not the most adept out there. Oh, viewers, I was hacked during the week. Russian hackers pretending to be YouTube, saying if I upload another video, the world will change. So let's hope this all goes ahead. You know. So quick Murdoch, and then I'm going to load this for you guys. Oh. What fell out? Rupert. He is 86. It might be portending his actual end of his mortal coil, but not usually. It could be the death of his power in the organisation. He has several children. He has 2 very ordinary playboy sons and a very smart daughter, so of course he puts the boys in charge of everything. My vibe is more that it's because of where Fox is going and going to end up, he's going to end up on a downer instead of a high. He can console himself with several, hundreds of millions of dollars, but at a certain point it becomes meaningless, as indeed does Rupert himself, one would hope, with the death card. So I'll just quickly look another couple of cards for Rupert. The Star in his past, the Page of Cups. Oh, he's coming to judgment. Yep. So he started off with all the potential in the world. He didn't have to choose to be a heartless bastard to destroy the working class in 4 countries. He chose to do that. He had other potential. He had immense potential, and he did have immense power. He had the ears of prime ministers and presidents for a very long time. He himself, this is indicating, somewhere early on, his younger self had higher ideals, the potential of the Star, but didn't go there. This also could be one of his useless sons taking over the organisation. But ultimately, judgment. These 2 together, look, I don't normally speak of literal death. I go to great lengths, as do most readers, when we talk about the death card. So it doesn't mean death or dying. But, he's got the best doctors in the world. He could be dead for 2 years and we wouldn't know. He's one of those who could spend hundreds of millions on being put on ice so he could come back in 100 years to do some more damage. But in the meantime, I want you guys to stay strong and keep the comments rolling in. And the equinox video. I'm not sure if it'll be on this channel or Dave's channel, or maybe both. Can you do that? I don't know. Okay, so there'll be another video in a couple of days. In fact, I have to say here, This one might not load up first. Come to think of it, you might get the equinox video before this. If that's the case, I apologise in advance. Take care. Love you guys.